The do-or-die nature of Nigerian politics and political actors have always made it necessary for a peace accord to be signed by political parties and their candidates ahead of general elections. Everyone wants the 2023 general elections to be peaceful, credible, and devoid of electoral malpractice and violence. But it comes with playing by the rules of the game and following the dictates of the Electoral Act 2022. Peaceful elections can also be achieved when politicians display maturity in their disposition, utterances, and actions, and are ready to accept politics as a game in which you sometimes win or lose. The 2023 general elections hold so many expectations for Nigeria's democracy to emerge stronger and better. And this episode of 30 Minutes provides a wide range of perspectives on achieving peaceful polls that are devoid of violence. It's a pleasure to have you join us on this episode. I am Mitaire Ikpen. So much preparation and resources go into the conduct of general elections in Nigeria, and the critical position the country occupies in Africa and the world at large makes it important for the outcome to be credible and acceptable. What are those actions that could undermine the electoral process, and how can they be avoided? Dennis Temple gives us an overview in this report.
Since Nigeria's return to democracy in 1999, elections have not been without observed pitfalls, from pockets of electoral violence such as ballot box snatching to incidences of voter intimidation, which created some nonchalant attitude to voting in the past because no one wanted to be caught in any crossfire. Political observers noted that electoral violence in Nigeria took an alarming dimension before and after 2007 general elections, when the benefits inherent in occupying political positions pushed politicians to employ all manner of tactics to win at all costs.
In the past, there used to be ballot snatching, snatching of materials and all of that. If you snatch ballots this time, it's not going to work. It will never work because gone are those days now. People have to vote. And I think this is to say that the power of choosing the next, electoral office, or let me say, choosing our elected officials now belongs to the people totally and totally. And people should be able to exercise their votes. And I want to say that those who are trying to deny people from airing their views and also using the PVCs, that they are writing their own history. And it is wrong to deny somebody. It is wrong to force somebody to vote for people that they don't want. This is the time that we need to deepen democracy. And leadership is not by force. People have to be able to vote for their conscience. And I ask Nigerians to know that this is a call to patriotism. This is a call to realizing that we need to rebuild Nigeria, that this is one of the greatest countries in the world. And we have the responsibility to choose the right leaders that will build this country, that will reduce issues of poverty.
Inclinations to violence before, during, and after elections have also been blamed on low level of political development, as well as the disposition of some political gladiators who make inflammatory statements during electioneering period, coupled with perceived malpractices on election day.
Before, I used to be thuggery and all that, giving bag of rice, 2,000 and all that. At the end of the day, winner takes it all. But it's not what it is now. If you ask me, because I've been involved in voters education with partnering with INEC, try to go into interior to talk to youths, telling them why they should vote and why their vote should be counted. Because you are sitting down there talking about violence or talking about being a graduate, finishing school, not having a job, because you didn't consider voting as a priority, as something you should get involved into. You sat down there and people were just messing you up. But now the much awareness is being created. People are beginning to know that they should vote.
We are worried about, some threats that are coming in here and there. And we are asking, the security agencies have assured us that they are ready for the election. INEC is also, ready for the election, but we should not put any life of a Nigerian at risk, because we have seen so many INEC officials that we have lost, and also individual security agencies themselves have lost their lives in the quest to defend Nigeria. And we are calling on all Nigerians, because this is a duty that belongs to all of us. And we must take citizenship very seriously. We are responsible for shaping the country, and going into this election gives us one of the most powerful tools in terms of the kind of technology that they are going to use in this election, and to know that your vote will count. Apathy is when people are afraid. Issues of fear is something that they need to be able to drag down. And people have the right to vote and be voted for, and they should go about their normal duties very freely. And the INEC officials should be protected. We should also protect our security agencies themselves, because they're citizens in the first place, and they are carrying out a duty.
Nigerians are eager to participate in the 2023 general election to elect a new president and other leaders across shares of government. Pleased with the trend, some analysts canvass for more sensitization and enlightenment of the electorate and political actors towards achieving peaceful elections.
Citizens have to know that the system of elections have changed. They need to have their PVCs to come out to vote on that day. They also need to know that anybody that is buying your PVC and asking you for keeps now is just going to disenfranchise you. You are not going to vote. Neither are they going to be able to use it to vote on your behalf. That's a very important. And build up to the election. Citizens need to um, be careful of the kind of things that they say. And this is also a call out to the candidates themselves. They need to be civil in their language. There's no need to hit up the polity, because after February 25th, we will know who the winner is. And so, to the citizens on one side who have decided to take pitch tent with a particular political group, let them just know that after February 25th, these politicians will cross carpet to the other party, and then we are left at, because at the end of the day you have made enemies out of your friends. So there's no need to have enemies. We need to continuously preach peace. People will come out on election day, vote. INEC has also issued the guidelines of voting. After accreditation, you vote. When you finish voting, if you don't want to go, you stay away, like 30 meters away from the area of the election, and be there to just watch the entire process.
The inability of some political actors to accept election results is perceived to be another trigger for election skirmishes. Politicians are therefore advised to imbibe the spirit of sportsmanship and desist from engaging in confrontations and unnecessary litigations which can heat up the polity.
Meaning that the era of people burning places, killing people, doing unnecessary things, I think it's gone. What you need to do is to approach the court and, of course, expect the court to do the needful, meaning that to look at the cases, dispassionately, and then come out with a judgment that will advance the cause of democracy and strengthen the unity of this country. I'm sure that's what we expect. So I believe, it's going to be a peaceful election.
The example set by Nigeria's former president, Goodluck Jonathan, by accepting defeat in 2015 despite being an incumbent president, is considered a legacy for politicians to emulate.
Where there's no justice, there can be peace. So once the elections are conducted free, fair, and credible, definitely everybody, all of us will come around the winner and congratulate the winner. But where there are infractions, that are obvious, and you want people to accept that kind of election, it will happen, because even if you as the candidate wants to accept, your supporters, may not be happy with you, and they will resist. And maybe the political party too may not, accept, because remember that it is the political party that is on the ballot here. So it's between the political party and the candidate. Once there's free and fair election, believe you me, everybody will accept.
To know that your vote will count. Apathy is when people are afraid. Fear, issues of fear, is something that they need to be able to drag down. And people have the right to vote and be voted for, and they should go about their normal duties very freely. And the INEC officials should be protected. We should also protect our security agencies themselves, because they're citizens in the first place, and they are carrying out a duty.
The consensus is that there is a lot to learn from the past, and avoiding scenarios that could trigger election unrest will go a long way in dousing tension and guarantee peaceful and credible 2023 general elections.
Certainly, there is a lot to learn from the past, like Dennis Temple indicated in his report. Now, a lot of Nigerians look forward to voting on election day, and this is because there is growing confidence in the electoral system following the introduction of technology, especially in the processes of accreditation and transmission of results. How can the deployment of technology enhance the credibility of the 2023 polls? We shall hear more from Dennis Adegunloye in this next report.
The 2023 general elections have been highly anticipated by Nigerians, and there seems to be an unprecedented level of interest this time around.
Elections are all about leadership recruitment, and once you don't get it right, you don't have good governance. So, beginning at the level of recruitment of the leaders, transparently, I think INEC will do a best job, and if elections are true, I think Nigerians will have the best deal in 2023. Very well inspired. I'm inspired, but I'm happy about it. I'm excited about it, and I feel that it should be done. And we're expecting that INEC will do their best to make sure that those who win are declared.
Definitely, I'll be part of it. In fact, I have my PVC with me. Just last 2 weeks, I got it from INEC office. So this time around, I'm going to be fully part of the election because it's my right. I want to fight for our rights in this country. We want to see how possible we can make things to be better in Nigeria. And we can only do that by casting our votes.
For myself, it is my prayer and my plan that I'll wake up very early that day to go and vote. And that's what I've been telling people around me.
Election observers attribute this unprecedented enthusiasm to technological innovations introduced by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) into the electoral process, with great expectations for transparency and credibility. The bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, is a novelty in the electoral process, and while it may have had some teething problems in recent off-cycle elections, it is generally accepted as one technology that can enhance the credibility of Nigerian elections.
Like the name says, it's bimodal. It's not going to disenfranchise people like the last time where the fingerprint could not read your palm and you will not be allowed to vote. But now, once your fingerprint, the beavers cannot read your fingerprint, they will now use what we call the biometrics, the facial biometric system. So that's one of the things the beavers will be bringing into the 2023 general elections.
Electronic transmission of results in real time from polling units is also something not previously seen in past elections. It is one provision of the Electoral Act that was put to test during the Osun and Ekiti state off-cycle elections. What impact will this have on the 2023 general elections?
The same device that will be used for the accreditation of voter, it is the same device that will be used to transmit the polling unit level result to a portal that is referred to as IREF, INEC Result Viewing Portal. So after the election is over, after the vote is over, the ballot is sorted, is counted, the result is entered onto the result form referred to as Form EC8A. That's the polling unit level result sheet. Information is entered, recorded onto this result sheet, endorsed by the presiding officer signed by all the agents available on that day. And as soon as that is done, the presiding officer will use this same device to snap the picture of this result and upload same to the portal, IRF portal, that live and in real time. As soon as the result is put, the people are able to view that same result on that portal, on the IRF.
What are the expectations or concerns of the electorate regarding the deployment of technology for the elections?
Even before BVAS, I've always been highly political. I come out to vote. Now that BVAS has, to a certain extent, gives some trust and confidence in our electoral system. Not that it's perfect, or not as if he has gotten to the point that the exposed and electing people in Nigeria are looking for, but at least it has given us some level of confidence and trust in the electoral process.
I know that they are competent, so I cannot say that yes, I'm giving 100% assurance, but I believe in them that they will do the right thing.
Though there are some discrepancies, more especially in the previous election that took place, I think in, was it Ondo or Ogun State? So there are some cases, despite the invention of the BVAS. But despite that, I still believe that, yes, there will be a kind of improvement this time around.
I can assure you that from the first time we deployed the system at the Isoko election, we have improved tremendously on this system.
The permanent voter card, PVC, is perhaps the most critical requirement for voters to actively participate in the electoral process, without which one has no say or right of complaint over the outcome of the elections.
There was a time there was this information that was flying on the social media that if you can just get the 5 digits, the last 5 digits of your VIN, that you don't need the PVC. But let me say here that that is misinformation, and because the law says the Electoral Act 2022 says that for you to be allowed to vote, you should come with your PVC. The assistant presiding officer will demand for your PVC for you to be allowed to stay on the queue. Without the PVC, you cannot vote in this coming election.
No doubt the enthusiasm of the electorate for the 2023 polls has reached fever pitch. But what is expected of a typical voter on election day, and how can people locate their polling units without difficulty?
But what the INEC is doing now is to sensitize people, let people know where they'll be voting on election day. Those who have been migrated, the register have been printed, and I think from this week, before the election day, they will be, the commission will be getting across to each and every one to let them know that you'll be migrated, and this is where you will vote on the day of election.
The voter should know that it is a privilege given to him by God and by the Constitution. You are given a privilege to determine who should be your leader, what should be the agenda setting for yourself for the next 4 years. Instead of gossiping and complaining and doing whatever this thing within the 4 years, this is the privilege, this is an opportunity. By the time you now allow yourself to be a cheap commodity or purchase by the politicians, they buy you, they give you cheap money, and then before the end of the day, you go and remove it out in excreta, and at the end of it, you keep complaining for the next 4 years. This is an opportunity for you, and from now to the time of the election, you should be able to interrogate the contenders. Whosoever comes near you, you should be able to have organizations, civil society groups at your own ward level, at your own local government level, at your own state level. You should be able to sit with them and have what I will call symbiotic agreement of facts and figures. What do you stand to do for us in the next 4 years? If it is legislation, what types of legislation? If it is at the executive level, what type of infrastructural, social, educational, or what are the things you want to do that will better the life of an average common man that is dwelling in our society. You should be able to have these pacts written down so that at the end of it, periodically, you should be paying visit to them when they become their honorables, their distinguished, or their excellencies. You should be paying courtesy visit to them and be reminding them on quarterly basis. At the end of it, since the Constitution has made it impractical for you to recall them, very, very difficult conditions there for recall of an elected officer, so that after the next 4 years, when they are looking for re-election, you should be able to apply the model of Aminu Kano and say no, and then decide to alternate him with somebody that has brought about more convincing evidence that he will really deliver in tandem with your interests and aspirations. Democracy is all about common man. Section 14 subsection 1 of the Constitution says that sovereignty belongs to the people. This is the moment of test for that section, so that the people of Nigeria will be the ones to determine what will be the type of leaders they want and under what parameters. If you decide to elect the best leaders in the world, fine and good, you are the bricklayers of building a better, formidable democratic nation for Nigeria and for Africa. If you decide to go after whatever they will give you, fine and good, then Nigeria will continue to call itself as the most kleptonic, contractual kind of capitalist type of democracy, whereby you will elect leaders that will be able to really see themselves as investors based on what they have given you at the eve of election. They will then decide to say they want to recoup whatever they invested with humongous interest, and at the end of it, the economy will suffer, the social relations will suffer, everything in the nation will suffer. So it is a very important milestone for Nigerians to really be the owners of their own destiny. If we select good, we do good. If we don't, if we neglect to elect, then we have no any other reason to complain subsequently, because it is our own votes that matter.
Get your PVC, collect your PVCs, vote your conscience. Get your PVCs, ensure that you vote. It is your right as a Nigerian.
If all goes according to plan, efforts by the electoral umpire to conduct credible, free and fair elections are expected to yield the desired results and place Nigeria's democracy on a higher pedestal of growth.
Of course, Dennis Adegunloye, we hope that everything will go according to plan with regard to the 2023 general elections. Nigerians have shown great enthusiasm in participating in the general elections, and it remains to be seen in a matter of days how this enthusiasm will translate to votes and the election of credible leaders across board in the country. You have a role to play, and so do I. Let us not renege in exercising our civic responsibilities to make our nation come out stronger and better after this electoral cycle. We look forward to analyzing positive outcomes of the elections in subsequent episodes of 30 Minutes. Till then, stay safe. I am Mitaire Ikpen.